The idea of budgeting often carries a stigma of restriction, stress, and meticulous calculations. But here's the reality. You don't need a perfect budget to change your financial life, you just need a budget. Period. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Too often, people get so caught up in trying to create the perfect plan that they never take the first step. Let's break it down and look at why a budget, even an imperfect one, can transform your relationship with money. First, aiming for a perfect budget often leads to procrastination. You sit down with every intention to figure out where your money is going, but the moment you try to account for every cent, you feel overwhelmed. You might think, I'll do it later when I have more time, but later never comes. Instead, aim for a simple, functional budget that covers the basics. Once you've got that, you can tweak and refine it as you go. An imperfect budget still gives you clarity. Without one, you're flying blind, not knowing where your money is coming from or going. Even a rough draft, something as simple as writing down your income and estimating your major expenses, can help you see patterns. Are you overspending on dining out? Do your subscription services add up to more than you thought? These insights can lead to immediate changes that save you money. What's more, a budget, even a basic one, creates accountability. When you assign even loose categories to your spending, you start to think twice before swiping your card. That's the power of awareness. You're no longer spending mindlessly, you're making choices. And those choices, no matter how small, can have a compounding effect over time. Another key point, life is unpredictable, and so is your budget. Aiming for perfection means you'll likely abandon it the first time something unexpected happens, a car repair, a surprise bill, or even a spontaneous night out. But if you approach budgeting as a flexible, evolving process, you'll learn to roll with the punches. Adjustments are part of the game, not failures. Let's talk about tracking. Perfectionists often get bogged down in recording every single transaction, but you don't need to track every penny for your budget to work. Focus on the big picture. Use tools or apps that automate some of the process for you, or just check in weekly to ensure you're staying within your major categories. Simplicity keeps you consistent, and consistency is far more important than precision. A practical budget also helps you set realistic goals. When you stop chasing perfection, you can start focusing on what truly matters: building an emergency fund, paying down debt, or saving for something meaningful like a vacation or a home. Your budget doesn't need to be flawless to help you make progress toward these goals. Progress is what matters, not perfection. And here's an interesting point: budgeting can actually make you happier. When you aim for perfection, you associate budgeting with stress and failure. But when you embrace imperfection, you give yourself permission to succeed in small ways. Did you stick to your grocery budget this month, even though you overspent on entertainment? Celebrate that win. Budgeting isn't about being perfect, it's about finding balance. Another important reason to ditch the perfect budget mindset is that it allows you to account for your values. Perfection often feels rigid and impersonal, but a functional budget can reflect what's important to you. Do you love traveling? Great, allocate money for it. Is fitness a priority? Make room for a gym membership. Your budget should enhance your life, not restrict it. The process of budgeting also teaches you discipline and builds habits. You don't need to get it right from day one. Like learning a new skill, budgeting gets easier the more you practice. Over time, you'll naturally start to make better financial decisions without even thinking about them. It's a long game, and every step counts. And let's not forget the psychological benefits. A budget gives you a sense of control over your money, even if it's not perfect. That control reduces stress, improves your confidence, and helps you approach your finances from a position of empowerment rather than fear. When you're in control, you're less likely to fall into debt or overspend impulsively. A budget helps you recognize money leaks. These are the small, often unnoticed expenses that quietly drain your finances over time. Think daily coffee runs, impulse buys, or those subscription services you forgot about. Even if your budget isn't perfect, tracking your spending highlights these leaks, giving you the power to plug them and redirect that money towards something more meaningful, like savings or investments. Another advantage of having any budget, no matter how imperfect, is the ability to create non-negotiable categories. These are your financial priorities, the things you absolutely must cover, like rent, utilities, and groceries. Once these are accounted for, you gain clarity on how much is left for discretionary spending. This clarity ensures you're meeting your obligations while still allowing room for flexibility. An imperfect budget also teaches you about your own habits and tendencies. Are you a spender who loves instant gratification? Or do you hoard money out of fear, missing out on enjoying life? A budget acts like a mirror, reflecting your money mindset. Once you understand your tendencies, you can work on balancing them, spending mindfully and saving intentionally. Let's talk about emergency funds. Even if your budget doesn't account for every penny, it should have a category for building an emergency fund. Start small, even $10 or $20 per paycheck adds up over time. An imperfect budget that prioritizes emergencies will save you from financial stress when unexpected expenses arise. Remember, the goal isn't to save it all at once, it's to create a habit of consistent saving. One overlooked benefit of a budget is that it allows you to test different strategies. Not sure if the 50-30-20 rule needs, wants, savings works for you? Try it for a month. Want to experiment with zero-based budgeting, where every dollar is assigned a purpose? Give it a shot. Because your budget doesn't need to be perfect, you have the freedom to experiment until you find what aligns with your lifestyle and goals. A budget also empowers you to say no. When you know your financial limits, it's easier to decline offers or obligations that don't fit within them. Whether it's a night out that wasn't planned or a purchase you're tempted to make, having even a rough budget gives you the confidence to stick to your priorities. Another game changer is building in fun money. Many people think budgets are restrictive, but even an imperfect budget can include a category for guilt-free spending. This allows you to enjoy life without derailing your financial goals. When you plan for enjoyment, you're less likely to feel deprived, which reduces the temptation to splurge impulsively. Budgets also make room for wealth-building habits. You don't need a flawless plan to start investing. Even small amounts, $50 or $100 a month, can grow significantly over time through compound interest. Include a category for investing, even if you start small. The habit is more important than the amount. Imperfect budgets help you manage debt more effectively. If you're carrying credit card balances or loans, allocate a portion of your income to paying them down. Start with the high-interest debts first. Even if your budget isn't perfect, consistent payments will reduce your overall debt load and improve your financial health. Your budget can also evolve to accommodate life changes. Got a raise? Adjust your categories to save or invest more. Facing unexpected expenses? Reallocate funds temporarily. Life isn't static, and neither should your budget be. Flexibility is the key to long-term success. An imperfect budget encourages mindfulness around spending. Instead of swiping your card mindlessly, you'll start to pause and ask yourself, do I really need this? Does it align with my goals? This mindfulness can save you hundreds, even thousands of dollars over time. Let's not forget the power of automation. Set up automatic transfers to savings or investments. This way, you're building wealth passively without overthinking it. Your budget doesn't need to account for every detail because automation ensures your priorities are handled first. An imperfect budget can also focus on building new income streams. Once you understand where your money is going, you may notice gaps that can be filled by earning more. Whether it's starting a side hustle, selling items you no longer need, or freelancing, your budget can help you allocate extra income toward your financial goals. Lastly, budgeting builds resilience. Even if your first attempt at a budget is chaotic, it's better than doing nothing. Over time, you'll refine it, and with each iteration, you'll gain more control over your finances. That resilience will carry you through tough times and set you up for success in the long run. In summary, an imperfect budget is better than no budget at all. It's not about getting everything right. It's about taking control, gaining clarity, and creating habits that support your goals. Start small, stay consistent, and remember, progress, not perfection, is the key to financial freedom.